Okay. All right. Project Education South Sudan and Empowerment Through Education are happy to have you join us for the second cooking demonstration with Chef and Dr. Noela Mogga. The mission of Project Education South Sudan is to prepare young women to be tomorrow's South Sudanese leaders by mobilizing resources and communities for girls' education. This cooking demo series is meant to give us a taste of South Sudanese culture as we continue to support girls' education. We're working together with Empowerment Through Education, who is sponsoring 70 South Sudanese refugee girls to primary and secondary schools, 50 in Uganda and 20 in South Sudan, all of whom are in boarding schools. ETE pays for all their school supplies and transportation from the refugee camps to the boarding schools so that they achieve the greatest levels of success. ETE works closely with the schools to make sure all the sponsored girls are safe and healthy as they matriculate from one grade to the next until reaching the ultimate milestone of secondary school graduation. As Dr. Noela Mogga goes through the demo, you can ask questions in the chat or the Q&A, and we'll be following both of them. A little bit about our chef today. So Dr. Noela Mogga was born in South Sudan and studied elementary in Juba until relocating with her family to Khartoum in 1989, fleeing the civil war. She attended the prestigious Unity High School in Khartoum. She pursued college studies at College of New Rochelle in the USA, where she double majored in chemistry and biology. One of the happiest days of her life was to hear her mother's ululations, I can't even say that word, but there we go, during her graduation ceremony, when she received summa cum laude honors. She began her medical career upon enrolling at Georgetown University School of Medicine in 2012, followed by a residency in anesthesiology at the University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio. She currently practices anesthesiology at San Antonio, Texas. After seeing the lack of stories in written form, Dr. Mogga decided to start Taste of South Sudan to preserve and share South Sudan's food, recipes, cultures, and traditions. Some of the recipes are available on the blog, tasteofsouthsudan.com, and videos may be found on YouTube. A dedicated mother of three, married to the love of her life, Dr. Mogga wants to inspire and mentor South Sudanese youth to achieve their potential. Thank you so much for being here.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I am Dr. Noela Mogga, and today is the second cooking demonstration, Taste of South Sudan for Project Education South Sudan. So thank you all for joining. I am going to be demonstrating how to cook 2 South Sudanese dishes. And then I'll also show how to make tamarind juice. So the meals we'll be cooking today, one is shaya, which is a way that we roast lamb or another meat of your choice on a pan on the stove. The second meal I'll be making today is spinach greens with peanut butter. In South Sudan, we consume a lot of leafy green vegetables, and a very common way to cook these vegetables is to use peanut butter to cream it, to make it cream. So instead of, for instance, in the United States, you would use like cream to make your cream spinach. We use peanut butter, and we add it to multiple different types of creams. So I will be demonstrating how to do that. So let's get on with it. Our first meal is shaya. To make shaya, I have here with me 2 pounds of lamb, which has already been cubed. And I like pieces that have bone and fat in it because it adds to the aroma. Now, you don't have to use lamb. You can also make shaya with beef or with goat meat. Those are the most 3 types of meats that we consume in South Sudan. All right. So we start out with the lamb that has already been cubed, and I've already washed it. And then we will be adding 3 celery sticks to it, which I have here. And I'll just run through all my ingredients for the lamb. There's tomato paste, oil, garlic, some spices, coriander, cayenne pepper, cumin powder, black pepper, table salt, and this is for garnish. I have here, this is cilantro. These are some of the other spices. Got bay leaves, and we use something called galangal, which is called Thai ginger. Thai ginger. It's very common in Asian cuisine, especially Thai cuisine. And we have adopted this. We use it for a lot of our meat dishes. It gives a very fragrant, spicy flavor to the food. And if you don't have a galangal root, you could use a cinnamon stick. And then we have our garlic. So I am going to create space so I can show you how I cut the celery sticks and the onions. All right, so we have our celery sticks here. And what I will do is the reason for the celery stick is that it adds to the sauce, because our meal, you'll have the meat and then you'll have, it should appear to be sticky with a little bit of sauce in it. And you'll see as we cook along what I mean by that. So this is all for the celery sticks. And then we have our onion here. You can use red onion or white onion, and I'm using a red onion. Let's chop them big pieces, that's okay. This will be enough for this meal. And then we'll add our bay leaves and the galangal root, which I have here. And you'll add some salt. So this will all go in a pot with a little amount of water. You'll set it to boil. So that's that. We'll add some water, about half a cup to 1 cup of water. This is what it would look like. Okay. So I'm going to set this aside because I already have some lamb cooking on the stove in the interest of time. It will take about 40 minutes for the lamb to become tender. And that usually depends, of course, on the meat you choose and the volume of the meal. So we'll put this aside. And if you will look right here into my pot, this is where I have the same lamb, the same ingredients already boiling. Just going to mix it a little bit here. So I mentioned about how I do not want to have too much water. This has been boiling for about 30 minutes and it is not yet ready for me to move to the next step. Usually when your meat starts cooking, it shrinks in size. All right. Cover it and let it cook for another 15 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to move ahead and demonstrate how to make tamarind juice.
Noela, we had a question come in.
Going to want to count over here. Yes.
Where can you buy coriander root, and will coriander powder work?
Where can you buy coriander powder? Oh, galangal root. You buy galangal root. Huh. The one I have, I brought it from South Sudan. I have found it online on Amazon. If you just type in galangal root, you'll find it. The coriander powder and cumin powder, those are very common spices used in South Sudanese cuisine. And I find them in Mediterranean shops in the United States. They usually come in packets and they're well labeled. You can also find them in Indian shops, Mediterranean shops, Arab stores that you have, particularly in major cities in the US. Okay. Do a little bit of cleanup, put this bowl away. Okay, we are moving ahead to making tamarind juice. So what I have here, tamarind pods. So where I find this in America, I buy them from the Mexican shops, but interestingly in Texas, because we have a large Hispanic population, they sell the tamarind pods in the Hispanic section of the store. So what they usually come in a hard shell, and you have to crack the shell and peel it. And I have already done that for these other ones here. So I'll demonstrate for this one how to do that. Do is we take, crack it open. In the meantime, I'll put the ones I already cracked inside this jug. So there are spines, so you have to take out the spines as well. Like so. But if you don't manage to remove every piece of shell, not to worry, because eventually we end up filtering. All right, so here we go. Now what I'm going to do next, I'm going to add hot water and mix it together with this tamarind pods, because I want the pulp to dissolve in water. So I am going to grab myself some hot water. Let's do a little bit of cleanup, move this away. I have some hot water that I already boiled and placed in this pot, so I will just pour it here in the pot so you can see how much water I'm putting in, and I will add 1 to 2 cups of water. All right, there we go. So now what I'm using is the South Sudanese Fraga, which is a cooking utensil that is long with a T-shaped end. And you can use this end to stir, to mash, and to cook basically all your meals. So what I'll do is I'm going to mash it. And the reason I use hot water is so I can get it to dissolve as fast as possible. In the meantime, let me check on this meal, because I'm starting to smell it sticking to the bottom. Yes, it is sticking to the bottom. And we will soon move to the next stage of it. So I am going to add just a small amount of water. So it can give me some time while it cooks, and I can show more about the tamarind juice. Okay. your meat is not yet cooked, you can add some more water to it while it cooks, but we don't want it to be soupy. So it needs to be a little bit dry and low on the liquids. Come on, drop down in there. Yes. I'll also be taking any of your questions. My assistant, my daughter, will relay them to me. So what I'm doing is just mashing those tamarind pods to get the juice, to get the pulp dissolved. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to put it aside and let it, let the element of time cause the tamarind pods to get softer so they can get more dissolved. I'll show you what they look like right now. Yes. My dress. Yes, my dress is an Egyptian kaftan that my sister brought me from Egypt, and we call this a jalabia in South Sudan. So for most of our women, we like to use loose fitting dresses, and they may have a decoration in the front or on the sides. This is what you wear to lounge at home. All right, let's come and look at our shaya. Okay, great. So my share, I'm ready to move to the next step. And the next step is basically, since the name is pan roasted lamb meat, having a little water, I would roast it on the fire, mixing it continuously so it can caramelize. And then I'll add the rest of my spices. And then we'll be done. And what you see here, this is why I need my onions and celery, because it ends up being mushed, and it gives me this nice, juicy, tasty layer to the mix, so it's not too dry. So this portion will take me a whole 20 minutes of roasting the lamb. Occasionally, I may add small amounts of water if I need to. Okay, I'm not going to cover it anymore. And now I am going to move and demonstrate how to make the spinach with peanut butter. I will put this cover away. All right. So for our spinach with peanut butter, we need spinach. Yay. Okay. This is the spinach leaves I use, and you have to wash them 3 times because frequently they have soil particles in it. Very tiny, but they do. And with the spinach, I mixed in Swiss chard. Those leaves are Swiss chard. They're very wide, leafy, and spiny. Okay. So I'm going to show how I cut the spinach. Just for demonstration. In the meantime, every few minutes, I'll be roasting this lamb on the pot. So basically, you just fold it all together like so. bunch of it in your hand, and we move down. Now I use spinach that has stem in it because the stem is going to give me fiber to the meal, and it gives it more structure. So it's not just, I don't know, homogeneous. All right, and as I say, we'll be roasting our lamb every once in a while. When I reach to the leaves, I don't need them to be very small, so I can take wider cross sections. So this is how I prepare the spinach cooking. All right, so that's our spinach. I already have a whole bowl over there. I don't need this. I'll put this away. And I'll go back and look back on my share. Now with my share, I don't have to add any oil because if you remember, the lamb had fat standing along with it. So I don't need to add any oil, but if I were using a very lean meat without any fat, I'll add some oil to allow me to roast it easily. There is a rind forming on the bottom, and that's fine. Okay, now going back to our spinach beans. So what we will need next is onions. I have some onions here, and I'm going to chop those onions into little cubes. I know I'm using the wrong knife for this, but this is my sharpest knife. All right, so now back to roasting my lamb. I'm going to add a small amount of water to it. Just a small amount. It's a delicate balance. All right, so we'll take the onions, put it in a pot. This is where I'm going to be cooking those spinach beans. And then I'm going to add some okra. This is okra. Why do I add okra? Well, in South Sudan, okra is a very common ingredient in multiple of our meals. We love the element of how okra draws the food and brings it together. And it's an acquired texture. Whereas if you grew up with okra, many people who grew up with okra love it, but many people who don't grow up eating okra, when they're exposed to it, they either just don't like it at all, or they're okay with it. So what I'm doing is cutting this okra into very tiny pieces because I wanted to the camera went up. You can record again. Okay. It's the recording that went up. Press record again. All right, so I will add more water in my lamb. That's my. Going to go back to cutting up okra. Okay, I will add the okra that I chopped to the pot. And let's get rid of our trash here. So we're going to turn this on with a small amount of water. And we'll let it come to a boil. That's all the water I'll need for my okra. Okay, in the meantime, I'm going to finish cooking my shea. So now I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients, which are my spices. Before I do that, I'm going to taste the salt. Make sure I don't need any more. If you remember, I added salt for it to cook at the beginning of the meal. So I usually just, okay, my salt is very good. So we will add our coriander. This is a focus that. We'll add coriander powder. And smell it. It smells nice. We'll add some cumin. What I have is 1 tablespoon. And black pepper. That's half 1 teaspoon. Oh, that's not. This is my cayenne pepper. Okay, that's about enough. And now I need to add a little bit more water because it's getting very dry and too sticky. So here's a little bit of water. And then we need garlic. This is garlic that we mashed. It's about 1 tablespoon. Nice. Now this is optional. You can add tomato paste, or you don't have to add tomato paste. Some people prefer to add tomato paste to their shea. That will impart a reddish color to it. My shea is already thick, with the celery and the onion and the garlic. I am going to do a taste test. So I will take a piece of it. Start a small amount off. And okay, nice. This is a butter knife and it cuts through easily. So we will taste this piece. As a chef, you should taste the food. All right, let's go and test it. I'm laughing because it's really good. Soft, chewy, tasty. And so folks, we are going to forgo the tomato paste. No tomato paste this time. Completely optional. My share is complete without it. Going to turn the fire off. So we have completed making shea. All done. One meal done. Amazing. Okay, I am going to plate the shea and have it ready for serving. Senator Dia, will you please bring me that floury plate over there?
Are the dishes one that would be made for every meal or special?
Yes, thank you. So shea is not an everyday meal. It's more of a special occasion. And the reason I say that is because in many of our families in South Sudan, you bring me that flat serving, yes. Because of the lack of refrigeration, people don't normally eat meat on a daily basis. And they would eat meat when they're having an occasion, like a celebration, a ceremony. And then they will make a big chunk of the meat because you would normally have to basically go get your own, purchase your own animal, like a goat or a sheep, depending on how big the family function is. And you will slaughter it in your home, have folks to clean it and cook it within the home. And then one of the main dishes that's made would be this shea. And it's very beloved because it's a lot of meat. It's roasted. Okay, so that is our shea. I already put it. And I will be garnishing it just to show you how one would eat this meal. We're going to take this catapult away. So what you would do with it is we'll take some lime. Serve it with lime, extra pieces of pepper or onions, and some folks prefer to eat it with bread. Some lime around it. And then we'll garnish it with the cilantro that we told you about earlier. You can eat it by itself, eat it with bread, eat it with rice, eat it with your sida. And voila, share is completed. Yes, with what?
With a grain of some sort.
Ah, yes, we would serve it with, we'll serve it with acida, which is made out of different types of flour. It is corn flour, millet flour, mixed with cassava or mixed with cornstarch, or with millet or with sorghum. So many different ways that we'll make the acida. I'll show you in a little bit. You have a good view of this, or should I move it over there? Okay, all right, great. So this is what we're doing for our peanut butter greens. As I mentioned to you, I have the onions and my okra boiling. And now I'm ready to add the spinach. So I don't have a lot of water by design because spinach has a lot of water. So I am going to add my spinach to it. Okay. All right, we will move this away. Here we go with the spinach, please. Just add it onto the food. I'm going to decrease my heat. So as I add it, I'm going to just gently move it from bottom to top. And spinach doesn't take a lot of time to cook. In fact, if you're running low on time, this is the fastest thing you can come home and make it for your family. It always looks like you have a lot of volume, but it shrinks to a quarter of its size. I am going to get all of this in this pot. And as it cooks, you'll see how I end up with just about this much volume. Look, there it goes. Okay. All right. There. We're going to cover it for a minute and let it come down in volume. Now, at this point, I am going to go back to that tamarind juice and demonstrate how to complete making it. Just a little bit further away. This is what I need for peanut butter. Oh, yes, 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 of course. All right. Okay, so let's look at this. If you see suspended in the water is the pulp. And I am going to give it a little bit of help by doing some pounding. So we have a lot of tamarind trees that grow in South Sudan. And it's one of the most common drinks. Not too common, but common enough. One of the other ways we use tamarind in South Sudan, we add it on to our porridge in the morning, especially porridge made with millet flour. When we add it to the porridge, it gives it a tangy taste, tangy, a little bit sour taste. Okay. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to filter tamarind so I can separate the seeds and the pulp away from the juice. So, this is a regular seed, regular kitchen seed. Yeah, what you have coming out here, tamarind pulp. Okay. Move that. Put that away. So I have a jug of water that we're going to add this concentrated tamarind juice plus sugar. And there we go. And now we have tamarind juice. The last remaining part is some sugar. I have 1 cup of sugar here. And I am just going to eyeball it. And as I said, the Fraga can be used as a stirrer. So this is one way to use a Fraga. Stir the sugar so it goes into the solution. The flavor of tamarind juice? I think that's another. It's tangy and sour. Green apple. My daughter says green apple. Okay, so what's missing is the taste test. I am going to take some in a spoon, and of course I'll use a clean spoon each time. So I was finishing making the tamarind juice. I have the tamarind here, and I was about to taste it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just as a demonstration. And also I need to know whether I have enough sugar or not. All right, it's good. It is good. My sugar was enough, and our tamarind juice is all completed. And now we're going to move to our next, to completing our spinach with peanut butter. Senator, will you carry them over there, please? This too. All right, so we're going to finish making our spinach with peanut butter. Can we point the camera to here, please? What you did not see was that my spinach had already decreased in volume, and this is what I have. So next I'm going to add the peanut butter to it. And what I have here is I have natural peanut butter, natural Jif peanut butter. I'm going to mix it with some hot water. So this is a new, completely new container. Just a spoon so that tamarind juice, I'll put that away. Just have my bowl. And I am going to mix my peanut butter separately before I add it. So I have 3 large tablespoons of peanut butter. And what I'm going to do is to use my Fraga, mix it well and add it to the food. So what I need is some hot water. And I have some hot water in my pot over here. Yes. You should, otherwise it's not an authentic taste. A lot of peanut butter has sugar in it and it ends up being a sweet peanut butter meal. Most of the time in South Sudan right now, most people, you roast your peanut butter and grind it at the market without salt, without sugar. It's just pure peanut butter and without preservatives. So the peanut butter obviously will not last you a year, but most of the time it's consumed within a very short amount of time. It doesn't last very long because we use a lot of peanut butter in our cooking. So I have melted peanut butter now, and I'm going to add it to the spinach with peanut butter. And we are recording, right? All right, so here we go. Just adding my peanut butter. This is the Fraga, I did wash it. So we are going to add it. Okay, I need a bit more peanut butter. My meal should be creamy, and right now it's not yet creamy as I want it to be. So I'm going to also add some salt because right now I have not added any salt to this meal at all. One more spoonful of peanut butter here. Hot water to it. We do have to let it cook for about 5 minutes at least. It's peanut butter. As it cooks, you'll see oil start separating. Excuse me. Now we're going to add some salt. Start off. So I hope you're all having a nice Sunday afternoon. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to test it. Especially test how much where I have enough salt. I do have enough salt. Now I need a little bit. I'd like to have a little bit more water. One of our very last steps is adding some tomatoes. And the tomatoes is just to give us color. Most of our greens are cooked without any tomatoes, just by themselves. And if you do notice, this is a completely vegetarian meal. There is no meat or meat flavoring added to it. It's healthy, nutritious. Some. All right, that's what we get when a little bit of the oil starts separating, because peanut butter has its own oil. So you do want it to cook a little bit on your stove after you add peanut butter to your meal. And so what I had with the okra is that you get a little bit of stickiness to your food. And we in South Sudan, we favor that texture of the food, that it should be sticky. Okay, yeah, we'll just let it simmer down a little bit, and then I will demonstrate. Wow, it's already 2 p.m. Okay, so I am going to pour it into a bowl. Senator, please bring me one of the bowls, please. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Thanks. Here we go. Wow. 2 meals and tamarind juice in just under 1 hour. This is great. We're improving. So we're going to go on that side and demonstrate along with. Any questions tonight? Okay. We have finished cooking for today. 2 meals, shaya, spinach with peanut butter, and tamarind juice. And I made earlier one of our staple meals called asida. And I made this with corn flour and cornstarch. So next time in one of our demonstrations, we will cook some asida on camera. But for today, asida goes very well with our greens that are cooked with spinach. And we will serve it. How you serve food. And then, sure, just plate it all on one plate. Ah, flying away. And here we go. Have some share on the side. And I could have also some salad, add salad, but this by itself is a complete meal. For drink, we have our tamarind juice. So what I want to show you is that the tamarind juice, the pulp does tend to lay at the bottom. So just before you pour it in a cup, you should mix it very well. And now, and here we go. Nice, nice. I wish you all could eat some of this food. I think I'll turn it over to the host for concluding comments. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We will have this demo up on our website in another week or two, and Noela will also have it up on her website as well. We thank you so much for joining us, and we'd love for you to share this with other people who were not able to come today, your friends and family who couldn't come. And if you would like to give to Project Education South Sudan, you can at this website right above, https://tinyurl.com/PESSDONATE. Thank you so much, and we'll let you know if we're able to schedule another one of these cooking demonstrations with Dr. Noela and her lovely assistant daughter. Thank you so very much.